Hello, everybody, and welcome here to Phillies Catch. We are live today at Citizens Bank Park. I'm James Biernat, as always, alongside Phillies Wall of Famer Mike Lieberthal. Mike, how you doing?
Yeah, pleasure to be here. Be here with my whole family this year. Usually I'm just here with me and my wife.
Yeah,
This year I took all 9 kids. No, just
yeah,
just six.
just six.
So
Yeah,
it's great for them to kind of cruise around the stadium,
yeah.
see my plaque on the wall.
There
We
you
took
go.
pictures.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get
definitely.
to you get to a little bit of bragging rights as the dad, as
Right.
a dad here at the ballpark.
I think they're more nervous than I am.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. Well, very exciting weekend here. Obviously it is Phillies Alumni Weekend. Tonight we're going to have Jimmy Rollins and Ed Wade inducted into the Wall of Fame. Obviously, you played with Jimmy. Ed Wade was your GM. Can you talk a little bit about the two of them, what they meant to you during your career, and maybe a good story, a good Jimmy Rollins story if you got one?
Well, Jimmy, I was 3 or 4 years in the major leagues when I saw
Yeah.
Jimmy come up as a shortstop, a little guy that was under Larry Boa's wings, per se. A guy that was so consistent at shortstop. I just remember it just seemed like he never made errors. It was just he was so consistent. He had speed, he had power. Maybe early off in his career, he had like 12, 15 home runs.
Yeah.
He didn't really hit his stride until he got into Citizen Bank Park, and he had the 25, 30 home run seasons.
Yeah.
For a shortstop that was so consistent in the field and can run triples, stolen bases, power. It's really at that position it's so hard to find. Just like at catching position, it's really hard to find somebody like that, or a center field position it's hard to find. And Jimmy just did it all, really.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, we got to meet Jimmy and talk to Jimmy. This is the second year we've done the live show, and I remember Jimmy and Ryan were giving me some really funny stories about your clubhouse dance a little bit. Do you think with Jimmy getting honored, you might break it out a little bit this weekend?
I don't think so.
No.
Hip replacement, bunch
Yeah.
of knee surgeries.
Yeah.
I can barely chase after my 2-year-old right now.
That's fair
If he
enough.
runs into the street,
Yeah.
I think I would fall first. So, the dance days are over. I never really could dance, but
Yeah.
everybody would laugh when I did dance.
Got the guys
yeah,
moving.
you gotta
That's
get
what
them
we
loosened
like.
up
Yeah.
before the game started.
Stay loose and sexy. That was the Phillies saying, right? That's what we like to hear. So, starting off the episode, the Phillies 6-6 since the All-Star break. It's been some ups and some downs. We've seen some great pitching performances from guys like Luzardo recently. Then we saw Taiwan last night struggle a little bit. He's really been struggling with the long ball, but still limiting the walk. So he's still been productive. The pitching staff's still coming together. We have Sanchez at his peak right now. We have Wheeler at his peak. They're going to pitch in game 2 and 3. But this is really the first time in the season that Ranger Suarez has fumbled a little bit his last few starts. So what should his mindset be tonight, Mike? Ranger taking on a pretty pesky, tough Tigers lineup. Where should his head be at?
Yeah, Ranger is not a guy that throws 95 miles per hour. He throws 90, 91. He really keeps the ball down. He uses all his pitches to get guys out. He's more like a Jamie Moyer.
There you go.
A Jamie Moyer that can paint both sides of the plate. He's got to use the inside part of the plate, keep hitters off balance from leading out over the plate. He's a guy that, like I said, when he gets behind in counts, he gets in trouble. But like I said, he's like a Jamie Moyer who pitched until he was, 46 years old?
Yeah.
I think
49, Mike.
40,
You're underselling
oh
him.
my
Oh,
God,
my gosh.
that's
Come
insane.
on now.
But Suarez is that kind of pitcher, a guy that can – a left-hander that can pitch in the league for a long time. Randy Wolf. Randy Wolf was another Phillies, pitched a long time.
Yeah.
There's not many right-handers that can throw 90, 92 and really have longevity. So he's,
especially in today's game.
Yes. So one of my kids is a lefty, so hopefully he can
extend
his career a little bit being a left-hander.
Very nice. Well, that's great to hear. Randy Wolf, sad he's not here this weekend, but good friend of the podcast. And, as we're celebrating this weekend, a lot of great Phillies players are back in town. We're honoring 2 Phillies legends, but it is kind of a somber energy as one former Phillies manager, Cubs legend, Ryan Sandberg. We lost him this week. Very sad to say, but left behind a legendary career as a player, very well known as just an overall nice guy, nice human. So we're very sad to see him go.
Yeah, it's very tough for a Hall of Famer that young, to pass and fight that cancer battle, prostate, and it's just unfortunate, especially for, the likes of a Larry Boa, a guy that was his bench dog for years here in Philadelphia. I'll have to go over. I never really met Ryan Sandberg. I just know his career numbers. I know Doug Glanville is a good friend of mine who actually played with Ryan Sandberg when he came up
Yeah.
And he actually had a really nice article, if you ever can look it up,
Yeah.
under Glanville's, I don't know, documentary,
Yeah.
podcast, whatever he
Yeah.
does. Um, but it was an incredible story for him
Yeah.
to come up, meet Ryan as a Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
as a guy he looked up to, and to play along with him. He was kind of a locker mate next to him, and it's very sad for
Yeah.
anybody in the baseball community to lose somebody at that age.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Yeah, he was a guy whose presence was felt in every clubhouse, and especially by Doug Glanville, who is an incredible writer. So people definitely go check out that article. But getting into yesterday, it was a exciting day, a chaotic day, as it always is, and that was the MLB trade deadline. The Phillies, made a move on Wednesday. That was the highlight of their deadline, bringing in the flame-throwing closer in Joan Duran. They gave up their catcher and number 4 prospect, Eduardo Tate, who was in single A, and then, of course, the very promising young righty, Mick Abel, who we've seen 6 or 7 starts of so far. But, Mike, you knew this team needed a closer. They needed a guy to shut it down in the 9th. They got the guy that can throw up to 104. He has a great 3-pitch mix. He's been disgusting this year, pitching to a 2 ERA. Talk to me about what having a guy like Duran does, or having an elite closer does, for a team that's in the postseason hunt.
Yeah, we've talked ever since spring training, right?
Yeah.
They need another bullpen match with Kerkering. Kerkering pitching the 8th. We needed the closer. With Hoffman not coming back with the Phillies, with
Estevez,
too. 2 guys we lost. We've seen it this year. We needed that extra bullpen help, a closer, a bona fide, legit closer that's been doing it for years. A guy that throws 102 miles an hour, 104.
Yeah.
I don't know what he throws, but electric guy that can come in the 9th inning. Really takes the heat off of Kerkering coming in, Strom coming in the 8th inning. It solidifies the back end of the bullpen, and that's key. We know the Phillies have pitching. Their starters are excellent. To have that back end it's huge. And we know we needed it. We got it. And I'm sure the fans are very excited.
Definitely. And, when you get to the postseason, you really want to have 5 or maybe, I think 5 good relievers that you can count on. Now they've got Duran, they've got Kerkering, they've got Matt Strom, who's been electric recently. And then you have a guy like Luzardo, who I think will end up moving back to the bullpen, a Taiwan Walker who's had his ups and downs, but they do have experience there now. And having a guy like Duran who's going to bring that, Edwin Diaz electricity, that Mariano Rivera electricity at the end of games, I'm very excited for it.
Exactly. Pitching wins championships. How many times do I have to say it? Pitching. All you need is 3 starters in the playoffs, and we have like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
And like you said, we can get help from the last back end. Who knows? Nola's coming back.
Yeah, that's exactly right, yeah.
And just to solidify in the playoffs, you're playing so many games. Back-to-back games in October, and that's what carries you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they also made another trade with the Twins, which is not very surprising. It would be surprising in most years, but the Twins just decided to trade 10 of their 26 rostered players. I don't know who's going to be playing in Minnesota tonight. A lot of lucky AAA guys getting a big break, but they got Harrison Bader, Mets center fielder last year. He's having a great season, really great defender, good range. He moves well. He's, a smaller guy. He's not super intimidating at the plate, but he's been showing a good amount of pop this year, Mike. His batting average around 250, 260. This is the guy that can hit consistently that we need in the outfield. I love when Brandon Marsh has his ups. I love when Max Kepler has his ups. But Bader's a guy that can go out there every day and give you some production.
Yeah, Bader's a very athletic player, a
Yeah.
guy that can run, play great defense, has some power. He has 12 home runs this year, on pace for maybe 20 home runs.
Yeah.
He just reminds me of like maybe a Jason Worth.
Yeah, there you go.
A guy that's like, that
Yeah.
Philly guy
Yeah.
that I think fans are going to be excited about.
Yeah.
He plays all out. He knows how to play the game. He's a guy that gets on base. And like I said, he's athletic. He can steal bases when you need to.
Yeah.
He's the defense when you need to. Maybe he's not like a starter, like a big-time starter that you're seeing in the future, but he's a guy that I think the Phillies need in the long run, especially the last 2 months of the season, going into the playoffs, which it's much needed now with the help we needed in center field and left field. We're not getting the production. We're not getting the on-base percentage. The Phillies needed that. They've talked about it for months. They need a little bit more help in center field and left field, and that's what he provides.
And they're not really getting on-base percentage and a ton of contact from Nick Castellanos the last month. He's hitting right around 200. He's had a little bit of pop. which is where he drives in his runs, and gives his impact. But it's good to have a guy, that can shake things up out there. The Tigers, too, had a very active trade deadline. They made 5 deals for 5 different right-handed pitchers. First up was Chris Paddock from the Twins, another guy the Twins gave up. Then they got Rafael Montero, a reliever from the Braves, Kyle Finnegan, the Nationals closer, Paul Sewald, a reliever from the Guardians, and then Charlie Morton, who's 41 or something, starting for the Orioles still. Now he's going to be starting games for the Detroit Tigers. So they had a pretty active deadline, addressed some of their pitching needs. But, Mike, I want to get into who's hot for this series, because there's a guy in the bullpen that's been electric the last month plus, and that's Matt Strahm. 10 straight scoreless appearances, which ranges back to June 29th. Only 3 hits allowed and 12 strikeouts. That is pretty darn impressive. Talk about what having Strahm does as a linchpin in the bullpen for this Phillies team.
Yeah, Strahm is nasty on left-handers. When he's pitching inside to right-handers, when his control is on, it just seems like he's so tall out there. His release point is, just a little bit quicker on the hitters, and it just, a lefty. He reminds me of Hader, but doesn't throw 99 miles per hour. But just his release point is just tough to pick up. I don't see many good swings from either left-handers or right-handers off Strahm. The only time he really gets in trouble when he gets behind in the count, he might loses his control. But it seems like he's always had his control for the most part over the last few years here with the Phillies. And you need that lefty in the bullpen. You need that lefty that throws strikes, a lefty that's hard to pick up. Really put the ball in play. He gets a lot of strikeouts for really not a guy that doesn't throw that hard.
No.
He's throwing 93 miles an hour. He's not a flamethrower left-hander, but he is hard to pick up.
Yeah. And another guy I want to highlight who's been really hot in the month of July, he's going to be pitching Game 3 of this series. Got snubbed very, very clearly from an all-star appearance, and that's Christopher Sanchez. Mike, 5 starts in the month of July. He has pitched 37 innings, allowed just 1 walk per 9 innings, and pitched to a sub-2 ERA. Talk about how great it is to, you can count on Zach Wheeler late in the season. Same thing with Ranger Suarez. Hopefully the same thing with Aaron Nola. How great is it that now Christopher Sanchez has entered that conversation?
Yeah, Sanchez, we've watched him all year. We've also watched him last year. Nastiest changeup in the league. I'm telling you. Nobody can hit it. Everybody knows it's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody can hit it. And at the same time, he's throwing 94 to 96 miles per hour with good control. He has a good sinker away to right-handers. He throws in well to right-handers. Yeah. And he can throw his changeup, I think, 5 times in a row to a right-hander or left-hander. They're not hitting it.
Yeah.
And he has great control with it. Really, he's just been such an incredible surprise over the last 2 years. He's a legit number 2 starter. He's a legit all-star. To have, behind Wheeler, Sanchez, that's tough going into playoffs facing those 2 guys.
No doubt about that. Well, let's talk about the pitching matchup for this series. We've talked about it, hinted at it a little bit so far. Game 2 is the one that most people are excited for. That's going to be the battle of Cy Young contenders. Zach Wheeler for the Philadelphia Phillies and the man, the myth, the legend, Tarik Skubal for the Detroit Tigers. Skubal this year is pitching to a 2.09 ERA, 10-3 record. He's already thrown 134 innings. He doesn't walk anybody. He doesn't let up the long ball. He doesn't really let up any hits. So to have a guy like that on the mound in Game 2, that's very exciting. And then we look at Game 3. That's going to be where Christopher Sanchez comes up against the young guy Troy Melton. But then in Game 1 tonight, we already mentioned Ranger Suarez a little bit. He's going to be taking on Jack Flaherty, the guy from your neck of the woods.
Yeah, this is a playoff series.
Yeah.
I know it's still not early in the season.
No.
After the trade deadline, a lot of things have happened. Teams have gotten better, especially the teams that are in, first or second, have a chance for the playoffs. And to face Flaherty, Skubal, who's pitching the third day?
Troy Melton.
Troy Melton.
Young guy, but he's got some promise,
Okay, well, this is like an exciting series.
Yeah.
I feel like every time I come to Alumni Weekend, they're facing the Nationals or a team or the Pirates team that's like, and it's like, oh, okay, this is not as exciting. But these 3 days coming here this year, it's a little different.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's take a look a little bit more at the Tigers lineup, because they do have a lot of guys that kind of make them a very pesky, very persistent lineup that's always going to, give you some trouble. Their catcher's Dylan Dingler. He's a rookie, having a good year, hitting .281. They've got Zach McKinstry, who's kind of surprised people as an all-star. And then Riley Green's their big hitter. their very powerful, very athletic outfielder Gleyber Torres, Javier Baez, both having career resurgences here in Detroit. And then the guy that, you played charity softball against, Mike. I want to hear that story. Spencer Torkelson, 23 home runs this year. Finally feels like the first overall pick's figuring it out. So, I mean, this lineup's Kerry Carpenter, too. I didn't even mention him, another really powerful guy. So they've got a lot of studs top to bottom. I want to hear a little bit about the Torkelson softball matchup, but talk to me a little bit about this lineup, Mike.
Yeah, the Torkelson was just in a charity, softball. I think MC Hammer was, playing in it, too.
Oh, jeez.
But they had, a home run contest, and I'm like, well, I'm, 52 years old playing against Torkelson, who's just mashing softballs 400 feet. Wasn't quite fair, so he won the home run contest, but it was, it was a great event. It was for Tug McGraw
Very nice.
event, so Tim was there. He did a concert there.
Wow.
And it was really cool. It was the first time I met Torkelson, so, he was kind of up and coming. It was probably 4 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
And now he's the stud
Yeah.
in their lineup. He's the guy
Yeah.
that's hitting fourth. But their whole lineup really puts the ball in play. Their
Yeah.
on-base percentage, I look at their stats, it seems like everybody's over 320
Yeah.
on-base percentage, and they put the ball in play. They don't strike out much. But they're doing it on pitching.
Yeah.
Their pitching's really kind of been saving them the whole
Yeah.
year. There's nothing outstanding about their lineup, but they have scrappers. They have scrappers that put the ball in play, and they get on base.
Yeah, absolutely. And so tonight, Jack Flaherty's going to be the guy going for the Tigers. It's been a bit of an up-and-down season for him. He's pitched to a 4.51 ERA, but he does strike out 11 guys per 9. So I'm a little worried about him, attacking the Phillies hitters early. Nice thing for the Phillies, we look at the top of the lineup, Kyle Schwarber in the 2-hole, he's red hot. Bryce Harper in the 3-hole, he's red hot. And then JT in the 4-hole, he's having one of the best stretches he's had in Philadelphia, at the plate especially. So I'm excited to see what they can do against a guy like Flaherty. But, Mike, talk to me a little bit more about this lineup. I want to hear your thoughts on guys like Riley Green in the outfield, Javi Baez in the outfield, who have been, making some production out of the blue.
Yeah, I'm really excited for
Yeah.
Baez.
Yeah.
For a guy that's really struggled the last few years coming from the Cubs, a really defensive player was his outstanding achievements in
Yeah.
Chicago. He was on plays of the week, I think, every week.
Yeah.
And then he just kind of hit a lull in his average and hitting, and he was kind of on his way out. It looked like he was going to
Yeah.
retire soon.
Yeah.
And this year is kind of resurgence for him, which is great.
Yeah.
Great for an older player, a veteran player like himself, to kind of come around and, play
Yeah.
well. So it's, like I said, their lineup is just, they put the ball in play. Riley Green's an all-star.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an excellent player. Torkelson has a huge pop,
Yeah.
just like the home run derby softball. I know that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's an interesting lineup because, guys, a lot of fans don't really know the Tigers that
Yeah.
well. They were a team that's just been in the bottom of the division over the last 4 or 5 years. They haven't done much, and it's really great for Detroit,
Yeah.
their city, to have a team that's really playing well. It's great for Screwball. Screwball is obviously the top pitcher in the league.
No
It's
doubt
going to be
about
great
that.
to see him tomorrow night. It's going to be interesting how they can, attack the playoffs, with their
Definitely.
number 2 starter.
So before we wrap up here, we're going to talk a little bit about the Orioles. They're coming up next. But I want to talk, a little bit of a run around the big leagues because there was a lot of motion that happened yesterday. A.J. Preller, the Padres GM, always likes to shake things up on deadline day. So we'll start with them. They made a very big trade with the, I almost said Oakland Athletics. I guess Sacramento Athletics for the time being. But
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas to be. Mason Miller, though, was the prize of that trade. He's a very talented closer. And then J.P. Sears, a pretty solid starter. They got him. They also got Ryan O'Hearn. They got Ramon Laureano from the Orioles, Nestor Cortez. They had a very busy deadline. Do you think that might propel them a little bit to catch the Dodgers?
I think it has to propel them.
Yeah.
They have been struggling.
Yeah.
And it's hard to believe with their lineup you see
my
every day.
gosh.
How are they not hitting? How are they losing so many games over the last few weeks? They needed to make a change. And I know they've had I think Suarez, is he on the DL? They had a closer. He's kind of struggled a little bit.
Yeah.
I think, definitely that addition is going to really help them in the bullpen. But offensively, too, they needed a little jump to their lineup. It's just tough to see. A team that, as good as they are on paper, they just haven't played well lately.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And then kind of the shock from yesterday was the Astros reuniting with Carlos Correa. No one really saw that coming. The Twins had a lot of years of control over him, but as part of their clearing house, they dealt him over to Houston. The Astros also got Ramon Urias from the Orioles, really good defensive player. Jesus Sanchez from the Marlins, one of their better hitters. But what about Correa, though? Going back to the Astros, that's a very exciting thing for those
I'm
fans.
sure he's very excited.
Yeah.
I mean, he went to the Twins. They were supposed to win this year. They're 4 or 6 games under 500. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I heard the owner's trying to sell the team.
They
got to rebuild.
Yeah.
Rebuilding process, and it just didn't work. So
Yeah.
Correa must be very happy to go back to the Astros, a team that's in first place. They're trying to get a little bit better. Every team that's in first and second place, wild card potential is trying to get better.
Yeah,
so,
no doubt about that.
Astros, I don't know how they do it. They win every year. They have all their guys out. They have their star player has been out for most of the year, the first baseman.
Oh, Christian Walker?
Yeah.
He's been out.
The star, the left-hander.
Alvarez.
Jordan Alvarez. He's like one of the best hitters in the league.
Yeah.
They've been doing it without him.
Pena's hurt right now. Isaac Paredes is hurt right now. That's 2 All-Stars.
It's unbelievable what they've done.
They've gone through a lot, and they've pushed through it.
And they're going to be pushing against the Seattle Mariners, who just got better, obviously.
Their lineup's looking great. Rosa Reyna was already there. J.P. Crawford was already there. Obviously, Julio Rodriguez. And then you add Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez of the Diamondbacks. That's very exciting.
Seattle's going to be tough with their top Kirby and Gilbert.
Gilbert's good. Castillo's good. Woo's good. They don't have a hole in that entire pitching staff, it feels like.
They just need a hit. Come on, Seattle. You guys need a hit.
This is them coming now.
I mean, it's like every year. Come on, Seattle. Yeah.
Well, they got their guys now in Suarez and Naylor, it seems. But I want to, before we wrap up here, talk a little bit about the Mets. As angry as these fans behind us may be talking about the Mets, they're a half game up right now. They added 3 pretty solid relief arms. Gregory Soto, former Philadelphia Philly. They got Trevor Rogers, the sinker, I don't even know, the submarine pitcher for the Giants.
Right.
He's pitching to a 180 ERA this year. And then they got Ryan Helsley, the Cardinals closer, who's very talented, as well as getting Cedric Mullins, the center fielder of the Orioles. So Mets had a very active deadline as well. Do you think that, this is a stretch where Phillies taking on the Tigers, a team that may be in the World Series, maybe deep in the postseason in the American League, you think this is a chance for them to get ahead?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Philly fans, but the Mets have a really good team. Their pitch has really been their weakness the whole year. They've had a lot of injuries to their starters. They don't have the starters the Phillies have. Obviously, they just increased. Their bullpen hasn't been very good this year. They got better in the bullpen. Maybe their starters start getting a little bit better, but their lineup is good. I'm telling you, they have a veteran lineup.
They do.
They're good. It's going to be a tough battle to the end of the year between the division for the Phillies. It's Mets aren't going anywhere. Phillies aren't going anywhere. It's going to come down to the last few weeks.
Definitely. Well, let's take a quick look at the Phillies lineup really quickly, and then the Tigers lineup for tonight. For the Phillies, it's going to start off with Trey Turner at short. Then we got Kyle Schwarber at DH, Bryce Harper in the 3-hole playing first, JT in the 4-hole catching, Nick Castellanos at 5, Brandon Marsh at 6. He's had 2 homers over the last 2 days, or last 2 games, that is. Then Max Kepler in the 7-hole, Edmundo Sosa in the 8-hole, and Bryson Stott, who has not been doing great recently, in the 9-hole. For the Tigers, Jahmai Jones at the top of the lineup, not a guy we're super familiar with. Then Gleyber Torres, Andy Ibanez, Spencer Torkelson, the guy we were talking about previously, Riley Green, Matt Vierling, Dylan Dingler, Wensil Perez, and then Javier Baez. He's transitioned to do a center fielder this year, playing shortstop tonight, though, his classic Gold Glove position.
He can play everywhere.
He can, and he's transitioned well, kind of like almost like a Bryce Harper transition, very fluid from right field to first. Javi, bringing the bat with him back to center field now. So
yeah, it's playoff lineup time, and I'm curious to see how they platoon Bader. So even though he's not in the lineup tonight, tomorrow I'm sure he will be. So it's going to be interesting how they kind of mix and match depending on the pitching matchups.
Yeah. And then Mike, one more thing really quickly. As a catcher, the guy who's commanding the headlines right now is a catcher out in Seattle. We didn't even mention him when we were talking about their lineup. The big dumper, Cal Raleigh.
Switch hitter. Unbelievable.
Switch hitter. The home run derby
in Seattle,
was incredible. Oh, my goodness.
A pitcher's ballpark. How is he doing it?
I
wish I could tell you.
I wish I could tell you. But the reason I want to get your opinion here is the American League record for single-season home runs is set by Aaron Judge. 2022, he had 62. Cal Raleigh right now on pace for 62, 63. Does he do it, Mike? As a catcher, playing every day, a switch-hitting catcher, can he break Judge's record, you think?
No.
Right.
In Seattle, dog days catching. Yeah. Wow. I mean, if he does, jeez, it's just insane. I can't see him doing it just in that ballpark.
Yeah.
catching every day. The heat, even though Seattle gets a little reprieve. Seattle not too hot, but
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Very nice, very nice. Well, with that, Mike, it's been a great time here at our second annual Phillies Catch Live show. Great talking with you as always. Always a pleasure to have you here at Citizens
Thanks,
Bank
James.
Park.
Good to be here. 75 degrees. I feel like I haven't left California. How is that possible? Summertime in Philly.
I think we can thank Mike Lieberthal here for bringing in the cool because
no, last night I was in a flood with all my kids in the streets going from a putt-putt place, walking 5 blocks, getting swarmed in like a swimming pool of water. That was weird. But
that was definitely.
Today's a little different.
Today's a little different, and we're going to be a big victory for the Phillies tonight. With that, thanks everyone for tuning in, and once again, go Phillies.